Thank you, Steve, for joining Energy Live News. We all have seen fights at petrol stations, even jerry can sales skyrocketing in the last few days. How's the situation now at petrol stations? Are Britain's forecourts running dry?
Reports coming through that there are still issues, particularly in metropolitan areas of England and also parts of the metropolitan areas in Wales. Other parts of the country that seem to be going through okay. Scotland is not too bad. Northern Ireland is absolutely fine. Trouble is with this, Demetrius, it's a moving feast because a site that was dry at 8 o'clock this morning can now be refueled, and the site that was fueled as normal at 8 o'clock this morning can now be dry. So it is a moving feast. What we are seeing in some news outlets is that the queues are not as vast as what they were, which is hopefully good news. But yeah, that's the latest state. We still think it's probably at least 50% of independent forecourts at least still dry in the UK.
I have listened to an interview of the chairman of PRA claiming that the current crisis is entirely the fault of the person who leaked details of a cabinet meeting to the press. Do you agree with that?
Well, yes, the chairman says that. Of course I'm going to agree with it, but also I think the press have made it a lot worse than by sensation the headlines in all the newspapers on Friday morning. Once you put a headline saying running on empty or fuel stations dry, of course it's going to instigate panic buying.
Mm-hmm. So do you believe that is it a whistleblower to blame for the current fuel crisis?
Honestly, we don't know any more than what the rest of the public know. All we know is that there was a leak. There was thought could be a certain person, but again, there's been nothing to substantiate that. So we honestly don't know. Mm-hmm. But, it appears that there was a leak between BP and the government, and that's where it's come from.
Mm-hmm. Are you hopeful that the fuel crisis will be over by end of this week?
Well, in normal situations, and historically, because this is about the third or fourth that we've had in the UK since the early 90s, yes, because we've got stats to show that an average motorist will drive 140 miles a week. So if a motorist has now got his or her car full to the top, then they're sitting on a month's worth of fuel in their tank. Mm. So yes, it should. And again, as I said now earlier on, some of the queues that we're seeing are not as bad on certain sites, but then in other areas, then it's still as bad as what it was before. But yes, the oil companies and others are saying that come Thursday, hopefully Friday, this should have certainly subsided by some bit.
As we speak, do you have a finger from the forecourts that are running dry right now?
In which respect? Do we know how many?
Yes, how many? Yeah, exactly.
No, like I said, it's a moving feast because that one on the other side of the road as dry is getting its tanks full, but the one on this side of the road could be running dry, which was dispensing fuel half hour ago. So it is a moving feast. We've been told that that the oil pros are doing as they can. The competition law has been lifted, so hopefully that will instigate more deliveries, and that should alleviate the pressure as well.
Mm-hmm. What would you advise drivers?
Not to panic buy. But by all means, if anyone needs fuel, they're running very low, it's a necessity. But we've had issues. I've had phone calls from retailers who tell me that people are coming in and just putting in £1 or £1.50 to keep the tank topped up to the brim. I mean that's just all they're doing. They're queuing for that, which is making the situation far worse than what it should be.